Let's talk about something unpleasant today: toxicity. For a while now, I've noticed that a lot of players like to mention the mental of intelligence whenever a play goes wrong or whenever someone makes a decision that another player disagrees with. Beyond the joke itself, it highlights something much deeper about how we justify our behavior in competitive games. What I'm referring to is one of the hate mechanisms described in Bendura theory of moral disengagement. I think it is important to understand just how much awareness of how harm toxicity and can improve us as players. I'm convinced that most people aren't even aware they're doing it. That's because the entire purpose of moral disengagement is to allow us to engage in harmful behavior while maintaining a positive image of ourselves and avoiding feelings of guilt or shame. In other words, players know that flaming, feeding, griefing or throwing a game is wrong. Yet they activate psychologically mechanisms that allow them to do those things without feeling responsible for them. And that is one of the core problems behind toxicity in Dota 2. Let's go through the hate mechanism of moral disengagement and look at common examples from the game. The first mechanism is moral justification. Imagine your mid laner or off laner dives into the enemy jungle without vision, while their ultimate is on cooldown and their teammates are far away. They instantly die to 3 enemy heroes. When someone points out the mistake, they respond, "I was creating space so you could farm safely." While I was dying, our carry was pushing a tower. It was a necessary sacrifice. This player is reframing a poor decision as something noble or strategically necessary. The second mechanism is euphemistic labeling. This happens when players use softer language to minimize what they are doing. For example, "I'm not flaming him, I'm just giving him some thought advice." The behavior stays the same, but the wording makes it sound more acceptable. The third mechanism is advantageous comparison. This occurs when someone compares their behavior to something worse in order to appear reasonable. For example, "Sure, I fed 5 kills, but look at our support. He died 10 times. I'm not the problem." Instead of evaluating their harm actions objectively, they focus on someone else's larger mistake. The fourth mechanism is displacement of responsibility. This is when players blame an authority, a system, or an external factor. For example, "Matchmaking put me with noobs. I have to do everything by myself." How many times have you heard or even said that one? The fifth mechanism is diffusion of responsibility. This happens when responsibility is spread across the entire group. For example, "Everyone is toxic in this game. I'm just responding." Or, "We are feeding, so it doesn't matter anymore." If everyone shares the blame, nobody feels personally accountable. The sixth mechanism is minimizing consequence. This is when players ignore or underestimate the impact of their actions. A simple example is typing "GG, easy" at the end of the game. You know perfectly well that it will annoy or tilt the opposing team, yet you do anyway while pretending it's harmless. The seventh mechanism is blaming the victim. For example, "He deserves to get flamed, he picked carry, even though he only has a 30% win rate on the hero." The responsibility is shifted onto the person receiving the abuse. And finally, the hate mechanism, dehumanization. This is probably one of the most common forms of moral disengagement in Dota 2. How often do we hear teammates being called bots, animals, monkeys, dogs, or countless other insults? Once we stop seeing people as human beings, it becomes much easier to treat them without empathy. In theory, moral disengagement protects our ego, but it also prevents learning. You will never improve if you refuse to identify your own mistakes. Even worse, you spend your time reporting other players for toxicity while simultaneously getting report yourself. Eventually, you may end up in low behavior score games, creating a vicious cycle that encourages even more toxicity and even more moral disengagement. At that point, you're no longer playing to improve, you're playing to punish your teammates or to prove that you're right. And the game stops being a challenge and becomes an emotional outlet. Research published since 2020 suggests that toxicity can significantly reduce a team's chance of winning because it diverts attention, damages coordination, and increases mistakes. So, I'd like to propose a different game. At the end of each match, try to identify which of these hate mechanisms you used, not which ones your teammate used, which ones you used. Keep doing this until your score reaches 0. You're doing yourself a favor. Will toxicity completely disappear because of this? Probably not. But what is certain is that you dramatically improve your ability to learn and grow as a player by changing your mindset. And for most of us, changing our mindset is by far the hardest part.